All right, you guys, welcome to our call tonight. We are so excited to share a little bit more about coaching and share pieces of our story with you. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Corey Mayo, and I am kind of the mama bear of Team Living Healthy and Fit. And we're just so grateful that you are taking the opportunity and taking time out of your day to either join us live or listen to the playback as we share our stories and a little piece of this journey with all of you. And the person who invited you to be here either sees something in you that maybe you don't see yet, or maybe you've been a part of the challenge group and you're rocking your wellness journey and you're just a positive light in that group. And your coach just really thinks that you would be a positive influence on those around you. And we want to remind you all that before we became where we are or grew to where we are today, we all started as women or moms who needed to make time for themselves, who needed to go after something different than being mom, being wife, taking care of everybody else. We kind of lost ourselves along the way and needed to find something that was for us and to make time for us and to feel better in our own skin and just to feel healthier and happier in general. And that's how we've all kind of come to this meeting place, right? Is we've all wanted some sort of change. And Beachbody or the community or the challenge groups have been kind of that path for us to find ourselves again. So I'm going to start with a little bit of my journey, and then I'm going to kind of pass it along. Michelle is going to share with you tonight, and then Caitlin is going to share with you as well. If you guys ever have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or reach out to your coach. You guys were open books. You will find that as we share our stories very openly and candidly tonight. There is no secret. There is no holding back. We are going to be very open and honest with you, and hope that this is a good fit for you too, okay? So without further ado, again, my name is Corey Mayo. I have been on my wellness journey for over 10 years, and mine started after my husband and I got married and we had our first little guy. I kind of found myself lost in who I was, what I wanted in life. While we were a very happy family, I wasn't happy with where I was in life, and I didn't feel good in my skin. I was very heavy, and I found myself really just kind of sitting around and consuming a lot of food and a lot of negative, dramatic TV. Okay. I didn't really feel like I was going anywhere in life. And so when a friend of mine approached me about trying P90X with Beachbody, I kind of blew her off for several months. At the time, we really couldn't afford for me to invest in any sort of program. But I kept watching her and I kept watching her have success in her own journey. And she kept building belief within me. She kept planting little seeds of belief that I could do it too. And so eventually I broke down and I'm like, I'm desperate. Like, I need something different than what we're doing. I was 205 pounds. I didn't have energy to keep up with our son, who was 18 months old at the time, and was just really desperate for change. My husband was desperate for change and losing weight in his own journey. And so we started together, and there's a lot of programs that have happened along the way, and a lot of transition has happened along the way. But because of the guided programs that I could follow at home with the flexibility of our schedule, and while our boys, when they were babies, were sleeping upstairs in their own beds, and now that they're older, but they're still sleeping before I have to get them ready for school, and the community of a challenge group and being plugged in with these amazing women you're going to hear from tonight, I've been able to shed. At one point, I was down 77 pounds from my starting weight. Now, that was when I was super laser focused and like dialed in for a very long period of time. I maintain a 65 to 70 pound weight loss from back in 2012. But more importantly, yes, it's great that I've lost weight and I have created more confidence and I feel better in my own skin and I've created that energy. But more importantly, I have learned to love me for where I am, for the work that I put in every day. I have learned to lead by example for our children and for my family and those around me. I've learned to look at life in a new perspective rather than looking at the glass half full. I'm sorry, half empty, and looking at it more as a half full perspective, and finding that silver lining. And you guys, we've as a whole, we've gone through a really hard last 2 years, right? With COVID and all the lockdowns and being restricted from seeing our family members during the holidays, and all of that causes stress in our life. And we've all been kind of secluded, and it's a really stressful time. Before all of that, before these last 2 years, in 2017, my aunt suffered from a brain aneurysm, and thankfully she's alive and she's recovered, but we had to navigate that journey. My goddaughter, who was 16 at the time, moved in, and we had 2 little boys. So that was a whole new navigation for me, having a teenager in the house who was driving. And I'm like, I'm not really her mother. Can I tell her when to come and go? But it's my house, like navigating all of those feelings was very stressful. And then in 2018, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So again, we were faced with a really hard path ahead, right, to navigate. My mom was cleared and did, we opted to have surgery and go natural, and she's still in remission and doing very, very well. But she was cleared in October of 2018, and in March of 2019, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. I mean, it was literally back to back to back. And my dad's cancer, while it was viral and is 99% curable, it is a horrific treatment. And to see your loved one go through that, because it was cancer of the throat and tongue, was really, really, really hard. Okay. But it's because of these girls and our team that I was able to kind of keep my sanity, right? It wasn't perfect. I for sure had hard days, but because of this community, because of the positivity and the mindset work that I had been doing for years prior, and my release and my workouts, I was able to navigate it. I think I handled it pretty well. Definitely not perfectly, right? But I know without a shadow of doubt that I handled it far more gracefully and with a much better perspective than if I hadn't been a part of this community and been doing the mindset work and taking care of me for all the years prior. Okay. So I just kind of want you to think about that there's so much. Beachbody is a wonderful company, and you might hear us say this every once in a while, and it's kind of silly, but we bleed blue. Like, I freaking believe in this mission so much. I've been here for 10 years for a reason, you guys. I believe in this mission so freaking much. But it's not just because they have stellar freaking fitness programs and I've been able to shed 77 pounds. It's because I have a good support system. I have good positivity in my life. I have good friendship, and I have this community to love and support me. So when we share about coaching and we talk about this opportunity and you see this fire light in us, it's because we know how much change this opportunity in this business can bring to your life because of what it's done for us. We're not just trying to sell something or share an opportunity that we know nothing about, you guys. We're here because it's something that we're super passionate about. And it's something that we want everybody to experience it, because until you are in it and you are doing it yourself, you can't fathom what we speak about. You can't fathom the community and the love and support and the opportunity that's right in front of you. So I have the pleasure of really speaking and diving into the finance aspect, or the financial opportunity that's available with coaching. And I will be 100% honest with you. I hesitate to speak on this topic whenever I do. I always tend to fumble over my words. I don't know how to really articulate the financial aspect of things. And that's for two reasons. One is the financial opportunity is unlimited. There is zero ceiling. That doesn't mean you're going to get rich quick. It doesn't mean that you just like make money. Your money is a reflection on the work that you put in. What you earn is a reflection of the time and the effort that you put in. But the second reason is because it's not about the money for me. It's not. Like, if the money went away tomorrow, I would still do this job every single day. I would still wake up. I would still connect with my girls. I would still share inspiring, positive, upbeat posts on social media. I would still reach out and send messages to wish people a good day, just to be a good freaking human being. So it's hard for me to speak on the financial aspect of it because it really doesn't matter to me. But this is a business. And for some people, it's a need and it's a want. So I am going to speak on it a little bit. Okay. Like I said, the financial aspect of this that you can earn, or the opportunity that is there, is a direct reflection of how many people you help. Think about that. It's not just about making money and selling product. You create more success in your business and more freedom in your business by helping and serving more people around you. Not by being a salesperson, not by cold calls and cold messages and just pushing product. You can try that and it'll get you so far, right? You might make a couple sales, you might make a couple quick bucks. But to have a solid business and foundation and great success in this business, it takes coming from a servant heart and wanting to help others. The more you serve, the more people you help, the greater success you are going to create. For us, I mentioned in the beginning, we couldn't even afford P90X. And let me just put this in perspective for you. For those of you who have recently purchased a challenge pack or are considering it, and we tell you it's in that $160 to $180 range, right? And you get the entire library. Okay, rewind 10 years. Rewind. We were out of VHS by then, thank God, but we were in DVDs. We didn't have streaming service. For $220, I got one program, one bag of Shakeology, and it, if I'm being totally honest, it wasn't awesome back then like it is now. It has changed a bit, and like a recipe book. We didn't even have the guided meal plans like we have now. We didn't have any of that. Okay, so I had to save up to invest that $220. I didn't have that money. I actually asked for my birthday money early that year. Okay. So perspective. Okay. That's what I got. I didn't have the money to invest in that, but I was already starting to see results in my weight loss and feeling better and loving the community, that I saw something there. I didn't know what it was yet. I didn't know where it was going to go, but I saw something there. So I invested, and we were living paycheck to paycheck and barely making ends meet. Okay. I started to kind of share my story a little bit, and people were being really inspired by the fact that in 6 months I had lost 34 pounds. And I kept going and I kept sharing my story. And over time, I was able to start helping some people. And what turned into living paycheck to paycheck started giving us a little extra cushion to buy the better groceries, to buy the organic groceries and invest in better foods that we're going to fuel ourselves, right? And then I started to build more confidence, right? Because I was having and continuing to have success in my own journey, and the girls that I was helping were having success and seeing progress in their journey too, which adds fuel to the fire. There is nothing better than when you see your people and your friends and your family start to get results from the resources and tools that you're providing for them. Okay. So over time, it morphed and it continued to snowball, and we continued to have more and more success. And it went from being able to afford a little bit better groceries to going on vacations as a family, to earning vacations from Beachbody that they gift us, to purchasing our dream home that we didn't think was even in the cards for us, right? And then once we purchased our home, we started doing all the things we wanted to do to make it ours. We've been able to start a considerable savings for both of our boys. My son is 11 and my younger son is 8. And we have a substantial amount of money in mutual funds that is going to significantly help them get started, whether they go to college or when they get started with life, whatever path they decide to do. We couldn't have done that before this. I was sharing with the girls before when we were kind of talking about what we were going to talk about 1 year ago today. It was in my time hop. My beautiful pearl white Tahoe that is sitting in my garage right now, fully loaded and amazing. And I still look at her in my garage and go, oh my God, it's mine. 1 year ago, I brought it home and we drove it off the lot and it was ours. Little things along the way can add up to significant differences in your life. You guys, I didn't start dreaming of that Tahoe or this house at the time when I started out as a coach and I signed up. I just wanted the discount on Shakeology. And then if I could help a couple people, awesome. If we could go out for a date night and have the cash instead of worrying about putting it on a credit card, awesome. But the more belief I created in myself, the more belief I was able to give to others and empower them. And as they grew their belief, it just continued to grow. And now we have an incredible team of strong, independent women who are working to create their vision and their life for themselves and their families. Like, how amazing is that? That what started out as just a small yes, and you don't even know where it's going to go yet. Like, you can't even picture it, can snowball and transform into something so amazing. So I'm going to pause there so I don't keep going, because I could just keep talking, and pass it to Michelle so she can share a piece of her story. Michelle and I actually met on Instagram. We are local to each other and we have since met in person. And I absolutely adore her. But if it wasn't for social media and sharing this journey, she literally lives 15 minutes away from me. We never would have connected. So I'll pass it to you.
Okay. I am Michelle Hankish, and I have been a coach for a little over 2 years. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I have been married for 8 years. My husband, he works in NASCAR, which is super exciting, but he does travel a lot. So I do have single mom duties every once in a while. So I try to, take care of myself and my family at the same time. So my coaching journey started, like Corey said, like through Instagram. I, for years, followed different people on Instagram that did Beachbody. And I always sat back and wondered, like, what is it that they do? Like, they look like they're having so much fun. They're making extra money and they're in good shape. Like, can I do this? And I thought, oh no, there's no way. So I had 2 other coaches before Corey, and I, like Corey, started off with the DVDs. I started with 21 Day Fix DVDs, and then I finally had the on demand and stuff like that. And the coaches I had before, they both stopped coaching, and I was looking for somebody to hold me accountable. I wanted to be in challenge groups. So I had reached out to Corey. I think I like voted on her polls just to let her know, like, hey, I'm watching. And then she reached out to me. I became one of her clients, and she would message me about coaching. And I will admit, I probably ghosted her several times because I thought, oh, there's no way I can do this coaching, even though I truly wanted to. Like, I was so inspired by all of these Beachbody coaches that I was like, I am intrigued. I want to do this. I think the thing that like really stuck out to me the most was seeing the community that the coaches had with each other. Like, so when I was born in Ohio and I lived here until I was 8 years old. Then I moved to Arizona. I was in second grade and I lived there until I was 15. So like the start of my sophomore year. So I have always had a hard time with like fitting in, making friends. To start my freshman year of high school, I went to a high school that was out of district. So I kind of went in not knowing a whole lot of people. So finding a place to belong. I was there for 1 year and then we decided to move back to Ohio. So my sophomore year, moved back to Ohio. I'm almost 16 years old and I'm going to a very small, cliquey school and trying to fit in. It was terrible. Like, I seriously think that that year was probably the worst year of my life to this day. And I just could not fit in. And I still think back like, okay, I didn't fit in Arizona. I don't fit in here. What's wrong with me? Junior year comes along and I switched to another school. So I'm at my third high school in 3 years. Luckily, there, I was able to find a group of girls that I was able to fit in with, and I still talk to them. But I still was like lacking that sense of belonging. It was another small town. They had all been friends since kindergarten. And here I am, 17 years old, like, hey, can I join your friend group now? And I felt like I still, like I said, did not belong because they're talking like, oh, remember in second grade we did this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I wasn't here then. So I think I wanted to join coaching because in my life, I was missing the group of friends. Like, I needed the group of friends more than I think I realized I needed. As we get older, like my friends were getting married. I was the last one of my friends to get married, and they all started having kids. And my husband, we hang out with his friends a lot, but they're single guys. So it's like me, my husband, and the guys. So I didn't have like the girlfriends, the girls I needed to lean into until I started coaching. Um, Even like I have reconnected. There was a coworker that she is not a Beachbody client, but she started her fitness journey through watching my stories. I did like a challenge group and she asked if she could join and see what it was all about. And she started her weight loss journey and she has lost probably, I think, close to 70 pounds doing it, all because what I shared on social media inspired her. And like I said, she's not a client, but we have grown a friendship through social media. And I mean, she lives close by. We're not coworkers anymore because she decided to stay home with her babes. But without this, I wouldn't have been able to connect with her and have technically make a new friend through coaching. Um, Another example I like to talk about. So I have MS, for those of you who don't know. And one thing that truly touched me is last year we did an MS walk. And I think there was like 5 or 6 of these fellow coaches came to the walk. And I've been doing it for like 3 years, or that was the 4th year of it. And that was the first time I had my friends come. And like it meant so much to me. Some of them I had only met like one time in person, and they took time out of their day to come support me. And without this coaching, like that would have never happened. Like I was like in shock that I had this group of girls that I met through social media come walk with me, come to my house then for a cookout and spend the day with me over this coaching. I'm gonna get emotional about this, but like it means so much. It's so much more than losing weight or, like Corey said, making money. Like I really haven't really. This is the first year I've dove in, like being consistent, and I haven't made a whole lot of money doing this. And there's been times I've wanted to give up, but I think in the back of my mind, it's not about the money, like Corey said. It is about the community. Without these girls, I don't know how I would get by with a lot of things. Like most of us are moms. Like I had a bad day recently with my daughter, and I was able to reach out to them and they talked me through it. They reassured me I am a good mom and gave me different tips and different people to follow on Instagram for ideas how to get through these hard times. So, yes, I have been able to, manage my MS without medication because of working out and eating healthy. And that has been a huge thing for me. But I would honestly have to say this coaching journey and why I will keep doing it is because of the friendships. Like, I can't imagine not getting, especially my text from Corey, a couple days a week, just checking in, see how I'm doing. And I miss that. Like, I feel like somebody truly cares how I'm doing. Somebody besides, my family, my sisters, my husband, somebody else out there wants to know how my day is and wants to lift me up. And I want to do the same. I want to welcome people in and make them feel just as good as all of you other coaches have made me feel and have welcomed me. Like, I finally feel like I have a sense of belonging. I have friends that, like I said, where I belong. So that is why I coach. And I honestly can't imagine my life without it now that I have started. So I will pass it along to Caitlin now.
Oh man, okay. All right. So my name is Kate Kamer, if you are watching the recording and don't know. So when Corey said, hey, we're going to talk about, how coaching, she's like, we need to just talk about how coaching's changed your life. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, if we talked about everything, we would be here like all night, all week. I mean, because like for me, and I know for a lot of our other coaches too, is changed everything. Like literally everything. Every aspect of my life is different, like night and day different since becoming a coach. And, when trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to talk about, my mind drifted to something that I don't ever talk about, which ironically is my health. I don't know. I just don't ever, there's always other things that I feel called to speak on. And I was like, well, I should talk about this because it's been a minute. And to give you some background, way back when, which my timeline with all of this is so convoluted, I'm not even going to attempt to go there. But I think it's safe to say that I have struggled with weight fluctuations, poor body image, poor self-image, all sorts of like mindset up and down, crazy convoluted stuff my whole life. And it's not to say that that's abnormal or anything. I mean, everyone deals with it in some kind of capacity. I think it's probably more appropriate to say that I just wasn't exempt from that. But I was always that person that was really proactive when it came to talking and planning out what I was going to do. I had like the planner and I would write out like all of the foods I was going to get to eat on specific days. I had the grocery list. I would write out the workout routines. Like, I mean, I'd spend hours planning months, like 3 months of a program or something that I was going to do. And then the action aspect. So I was an intense perfection seeker. And I also, again, dealt a lot with really horrible negative self-image. Like I thought horribly of myself. And so, you combine all that together and really what it resulted in is I would start a routine and I would maybe stick to it for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, I don't know. But then life would happen and I would miss a workout, which I was always one of those that if you missed a workout, you needed to do like tomorrow's workout and the one you missed or the two you missed. Like you had to stay on track 24/7. So that is just toxic burnout waiting to happen. So like something like that would happen, or I would quote unquote fall off track with food or whatever it may be. And that negative perfectionist in me would just spiral. Like I would spiral out of control. And I was also one of those that any weight that I may have lost during that time that I was on in a routine, I would gain it back and then some. And I honestly don't know how heavy I was like at my heaviest, because at one point I was just terrified to get on the scale. I do know I weighed over 230 pounds at one point. or for a while anyway. And I'm 5'2", so I was suffocating in my body, completely and utterly suffocating. And I did this all the time. I would just spiral down further, my weight would spiral up, and I would, hit my new rock bottom. And then at some point I would just start the process literally all over again and go through all of the motions, all of it, all over again. And this sort of roller coaster routine for me, it continued on into my Beachbody life as a client. I could not get my shit together. I had so much internal stuff going on that I wasn't even willing to acknowledge, let alone to work on. And so it just was what it was. And for me personally, coaching, which I became a coach for various reasons that have nothing to do with this, which I'm not going to get into that tonight. This is just something that I don't know. I guess I hadn't planned on being such a big factor, and then it turned out to be. But becoming a coach is where all the shifts started for me when it came to my health and consistency with my health. And for me, rather than share like my actual story with that, I kind of want to give you an idea of 3 things that really helped me with that I think in turn help all of us with this, when it comes to our health and our accountability and all of that. So first off, the accountability factor for sure is a huge level up. If you are a client, you are aware of what it's like in the wellness groups. It is an amazing group of women. Everybody is at a different stage with all this, right? Like some people are super consistent and they have like a great routine and they've been doing this for a while. Others are just getting started. Some are riding that roller coaster routine I was just talking about. It's across the board, right? When you become a coach, I mean, we do this for a living. So we're consistent as hell. And there is something to be said, regardless of whatever you're trying to do in your life, whether you're wanting to learn something new or, like start speaking another language or, get more consistent with your health. If you're wanting to do something like that, it is a good idea to surround yourself with people who are already doing it because subconsciously you're going to want to rise to the occasion. And that's kind of what happened for me when I first became a coach. Like the idea of pushing play every day that a program said to was overwhelming. And there was no way I was going to ever be able to do that. But like for my coach, Corey, that was like no big deal. It was just like brushing your teeth. So my brain just started to track that way after a while. And, and it just kind of went from there. So, second of all, which this was the hugest one for me, is the push for personal development increases tenfold. Not only personal development, but professional development. When you are a client, we recommend that you read personal development, obviously. But like when you become a coach, like the first order of business as a coach is to take care of yourself physically and mentally. So when you get to a point where you're so consistent with that kind of development, both on the personal and the professional side of it, you will find that you start to shift into kind of a growth curve of sorts. And, all of a sudden, like for me, I had a lot of pain points when I started as a coach. I was in the thick of a lot of stuff mentally, externally with my marriage. There was a lot. And for me, I was able to start healing wounds while I was still in the thick of things. Like I was still like quote unquote in battle and healing from that. And I was able to start learning how to navigate triggers where before I would spiral out of control. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, like this is not fun, but there's a path through here. I don't have to like plummet and then try and claw my way back up. And then two, for me, personal development really helps you to kind of figure out who you are. And not so much in the sense that it's like teaching you how to think, but I think your perspectives shift and they become broader. You are more open-minded. I think it is, for me, it was something that gave me an idea of, yes, who I wanted to be, but like how I wanted to carry myself, what kind of goals I could attain. And not only that, but the belief in yourself that you're worthy and deserving of doing that. So for me, it was the biggest thing. Like mindset to me is 100% everything with this. So that was huge. And then of course, the third thing, when you become a coach, you're going to have clients of your own. You're going to have coaches of your own, and you inevitably grow into a leader who wants to show and teach, by doing it yourself. And not only for your team, but we market through social media. You're showing up there. I mean, a lot of our job is talking to people and building relationships. Like Michelle was saying, she has a really close friend who she has had a huge impact on, who isn't a part of this community. There are so many of those people out there. You get to a point where you want to show up for these people, whether they're within our community or not, because you want them to be able to show up for themselves, because our mission is to serve and to help others. And it all just, it's like the snowball effect, and I'm 34 years old. I have struggled with my weight my entire life. I have spent years weighing over 200 pounds. I have probably spent 5 or 6 years of my life like under like crippling amounts of weight, like to the point that my health was terrible from a cardiovascular standpoint. Like my joints hurt. Like I mean, it was bad. And I seriously leaned into coaching in July of 2020. And by the end of 2021, I had lost 100 pounds and gained so much more in return. I am no longer ruled by that perfectionist mindset. I no longer obsess with food. I used to think about food constantly, whether it was binging or starving or trying to diet in some kind of way. Like I thought about food all the time, and now I just eat when I'm hungry. Like I have such a good relationship with food. Exercise is no longer a punishment. It's no longer a thing I need to do to change my body because I hate what I see in the mirror. Instead, it is something that just gives me life. It makes me feel good. It clears my head. It is there. If shit hits the fan and my life feels really hard, I'm going to go push play because it is a pause on the shit going on. Like it is a positive in my life. And when things don't go as planned, I no longer spiral into oblivion. Instead, I give myself some fucking grace and I move on with my life. And a big part of why I do that is because my girls, my clients, all of these people that I help, I don't want to see them pick themselves apart and eat themselves alive when, life happens. I don't even want to say when challenges happen. Life is hard, right? Like we inevitably are going to face hardships in life of all sizes, all sizes. It's going to happen. So I knew that I needed to lead by example with that. And, the client aspect of all this too, you guys, there's no way to describe the feeling of this without you would just need to feel it. And then you would feel it and it would just be like, all it's everything. It is crazy. For me, like looking back on all this, knowing that my consistency, being able to get consistent with myself, showing up for myself, could create some sort of ripple effect that could help others to do the same. Getting to watch them, really having the privilege to watch them grow and evolve and exude these new energies. Like these people literally start to radiate light. Like part of our job is getting to help people take their lives back. Like they get to pull in like all the stuff that they want and then they just shine out everything else. And it is just, uh, it is undescribable, and it's not to say that I'm not proud of my own transformation mentally, physically. Obviously I've had drastic changes with all of that. And I'm proud of that. And I'm happy with the effort I've put in with my journey thus far, but all of that pales in comparison when it comes to watching these other women walking their own journey and walking their own path. The feeling is just, it is overwhelming. It is literally an honor to get to be witness to all of this. Something for you to look forward to if you decide at some point that this is going to be for you. And like for me, the fact that getting consistent with my health, like yes, it changed my life, but knowing that in some small way, it helped somebody else to change theirs. It helped somebody else to not only change their life, but then to start their own ripple effects and start to help others change others' lives. It just all keeps going. It's it's just kind of one of those moments where it's like, what is this life that we get to live? And I don't know, but it's just, it's amazing. So that's all I got. And I think Corey's got something to wrap us up and then we'll be good to go.
Just smiling from ear to ear because I get to be the one witnessing these two beautiful souls share their heart with you guys. Like, oh, you both had me in tears. So super proud of both of you. Appreciate all of you who hopped on and those of you who are listening to the playback. So in closing, I just wanted to kind of wrap things up and I guess bring it all together. What does this mean for you? And hopefully at the very minimum, you took some inspiration and some light and some positivity, maybe filled your cup up a little bit. But what we're actually sharing with you is to invite you to link arms with us, to invite you to start your own ripple effect, to start working on you, creating more health and happiness in your own life by pushing play on your workouts, following a guided nutrition program, doing the mindset work with personal development. That's what we do as coaches. You guys, what we do is not hard, okay? We work on being the best version of us, being vulnerable and open enough to sharing with others. And you might look at, if you follow us on social media, you might look at us and go, I could never do that. I could never share what they share. I could never do those pictures. Yes, you can. And yes, you will, if it's something that you want to do. But here is the beauty of this. We all get to decide how much we share, how vulnerable we are. We didn't start here, okay? Michelle, myself, Caitlin, like we did not start where you see us today. We started at ground zero, just like you would as a brand new coach, okay? But the really cool thing is that when you link arms with us, you get us. You get our love and support. You get our guidance to help, just like we help guide you through your nutrition and fitness. If you're already in the wellness group, you get that and even more when it comes to helping you take those new steps in your coaching journey. So you don't have to have it all figured out, okay? But what we're inviting you to do is to work on you, take that next level of accountability and share that story with those around you to create that ripple effect, and invite your friends and family to join us, to link arms with us too, so that way we can, it's a beautiful thing to be able to help one or two people, right? But as one person, we can only help so many. So when we link arms with those around us, the ripple effect is unstoppable. And that's what we want. We want to be more love, light, and inspiration in our world, because especially after these last 2 years, we need it now more than ever, is to just create more light. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. If you have any questions, please reach out to the coach who invited you to listen to this call, or reach out to myself or Caitlin. I'm sure Michelle is open to it as well. You guys, like I said in the beginning, we're open books. So anything that we can do to answer the questions for you and to help you decide if this could be for you, we're absolutely here to do so. So thank you so much. We hope you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk with you soon.